Hello and welcome back to IT Security Labs, and today we have a good one. We have another machine from Vulnhub called Dawn that we'll be exploiting, and I've added more to our lab here. We added an host-based intrusion detection system. In this case, we'll be using Wazoo agents, and as you can see, we have some data coming in. I already have my machine called Dawn added to my host-based intrusion detection system, so we can see what type of what the attacks looks like when we are actually doing these attacks. So this is going to be a fun live stream. So thank you all for joining us, and it's good to see you, BT. Thanks, man, for joining. All right. So the first part is let's look here. This is my machine called Dawn. You can download this from Vulnhub. Just search for Dawn, and it's a free machine, so Sunset Dawn here. Anyone can download this, anyone can attack them. The only few things that I've done is I've added it to my lab environment, and you got a DHCP IP address of 192.168.38.34. This is a fully blown Windows Active Directory environment. So when we're learning, we actually learn sort of in a close to a production-like environment. So we got a 34 IP address here. That's all we have there. Otherwise, let's close that. The next component is that I have an intrusion detection system. In this case, my network-based intrusion detection system is Security Onion, and I'm trying to add Wazoo for my host-based intrusion detection system. I like to keep these separate. That way, at least it looks like a production environment where you don't have all your stuff in one place. And then the goal is to end up porting this Wazoo interface to Splunk using an API, which I will get done hopefully next week. But the idea is to end up with all the logs coming back in here using Splunk. So thank you all for joining. Today, as I said, we'll be attacking that machine. Let's start by just doing a quick ping to that machine. 192.168.38.34. I like to do this because I've attacked machines that don't respond before. So for my own sanity, I need to see those ping responses before I start running anything. Or if I don't get ping responses, maybe I need to run nmap -pn. Like that, because machines don't respond to ping. You run nmap with a don't expect ping response. Brandon, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for joining. All right, so now that we know our machine runs without with pings on, so we can just do -sv -sc 192.168.38.34. This is going to go for top 1000 ports using default scripts, and we're also enumerating service versions. At this point, I'm actually also incorporating tools that makes my life easier. I'm now graduating from manually running these commands all the time to actually automating this process. So in addition to this nmap here, I'm also running something like, let's go to Dawn. I'm now incorporating auto recon, and auto recon is a wonderful tool. I think a lot of people use it. Go ahead and install auto recon if you haven't. It makes your life easier. But with auto recon, what you can do is you just run auto recon in 192.168.38.34. And what auto recon is going to do is a wonderful tool. I don't remember who the creator was, but it does all this work for us, all this manual work, so that when we run auto recon, 1 and 2, if I can type, right? Auto recon, not auto recon. All right. Auto recon will run a lot of scripts for us in the background, which saves us a lot of time. In this case, we'll do a full TCP scan, top 20 UDP, a quick nmap, and it will give us the results in a really nice way. Let me show you what that looks like. I got machines. All right. So when you run auto recon, you get a folder called results. And in results, you get the IP address of the machine. So you can run this tool against a subnet, which is awesome. So let's go to that. And in here you get exploit loot. This is to help you for the OSCP, I think. But in this case, let's go to scans. Auto Recon has done a bunch of scans for us. So I like to show you what I'm doing, but also this is a really nice tool to have. As you can see, we have a lot of scripts that it runs for us in the background. I'll be doing most of these manually today, but I just want to show you that you can do this with Auto Recon, and I'll be referencing these results as well. All right, first order of business, we scanned our machine. It's 192.168.30.34. Look what we have. We have port 80. And we have a version of Apache here, and this can tell us what kind of system we are running. The Debian version, in this case, usually Apache is tied to the version of the Debian, so this might help us to tell us exactly what type of system this is. But we have 139.445 Samba shares here, and look at it. This is the third time we've seen a database exposed, in this case 3306. So that is interesting stuff. We did run some scripts here, and I don't see much. So let's go ahead and check port 80. That looks like the normal thing to do. So if I wasn't here, you would come here, and this is what we see. Website currently under construction. Try again later. Okay. This admin lets themselves know what to do. Install a control panel. All right, let's do this the manual way. Then I'll show you what Auto Recon will show us as well. Let's open a new tab. So what I'll do is I'll just run a quick derb with the default word list against that site. And this is brute forcing some directories. And this is where the fun begins. We're already making too much noise on the system. Let's go check our host-based intrusion detection system here. Let's find out what it's saying. Because we already have an agent, like an agent that is supposed to be reading data on that system. So if I go to my Wazoo interface here, if I go to my modules, I have security events. I should start seeing a lot of noise right now. So in my lab right now, I have a few systems. I have 4 systems, but let's check. Yeah, this is actually done. We can check for the system. We can just check the normal security events. We can check this MITRE attack. I've used both. It doesn't really matter. First thing is events count evolution. You can see that I did this earlier. Then now I'm doing it again. I'm attacking. So right away we see that there's a spike in events on our system because things are happening. Let's look at these events in real time. Since we're brute forcing right now, we should be able to see noise. So this is what the good guys will see. All right. Right away we see these 400 error codes here. This is derb buster. This is the derb us brute forcing. Right away, if you open one of these, you see that this is our IP address of our system. We're monitoring, in this case, Apache log, and it tells us right here. If we look at a different log, it will actually tell us that it's derb, I think. But we know this is an attack that is happening right now with derb, and that's why we have all these. We have this one that says multiple, so this one combined from the same source IP address because it's our Kali Linux. All right, now that's going to be interesting. So this is what a brute force, directory brute force looks like from a host-based intrusion detection system. Well, agent, in this case, Wazoo. You see multiple GET requests to one location. Quick note here, a good configured application will have rate limiting, so you would not if you develop this application or web app, you have rate limiting in place. Maybe you put a web application firewall in front of this thing. That might prevent someone from brute forcing your directories like this. So you want to make sure you have web firewall that does rate limiting or something. But that's what it looks like from a host-based intrusion detection system for Derb. Because all these weeks we've been looking at network-based with Security Onion. All right. So now that we are done making noise, we see that we only have this logs directory. Let's open that link. All right, so right here we have auth log, daemon. Logs can be very helpful depending on what kind of logs we're looking at. So let's open one at a time. I'm just opening them in new tabs. Opening new tab. All right, so I got forbidden 4 3s on all these, three, except for the management log. So let me save that file. I saved that in my downloads. Okay, if I can type. Matthew, it's good to see you, man. Thank you all for joining tonight. We are attacking this machine called Dawn from Vulnhub. It's supposed to be a fairly easy machine, and I'm just going through the process of showing you what we have here. So far we found a directory on port 80 called logs. We cannot read any of them except for the management log, which I just downloaded. In this case, it's going to be this one. So let's read this log to see what's happening on this system. I wonder if this right here is going to be caught by our intrusion detection system. All right, so right away we see interesting logs. When we see logs that include the cron is a Linux system process or application, whatever you want to call it, that runs things on a schedule. And if we are running things as root, that's good. In this case, I see right away we have something called web control in the IT department, home Dawn IT department. And we're changing the permissions to 777. So this is really good. We're also doing a bash. And I see, so we are running this product control after changing the permissions, I think. Let's take a look at the, yeah. So we're changing this to be owned by, we're changing the permissions to 777, probably owned by Dawn, using a cron job, which is an automated job. In this case, we can see how often it's running. 22. It's running probably very quickly. And then we are executing it. So that is good stuff. From here, this log file is very helpful because it's telling us what's happening on the system. Why anyone would expose this log file is really unknown. Someone, maybe an administrator, wants to see this log file every day. There are better ways to give yourself access to log files than just expose it on import, unauthenticated. So if you are going to be an administrator, make sure that you at least put a password, username and password behind this important log file here. But anyway, we like this because we're executing it for whatever reason, this thing called product control, which is interesting. All right. Let's go and check our nmap again. So we have a log file that is showing us something is getting executed. This is where coming back and say, okay, so how do I exploit that? How do I take advantage of that? I see that I have SMB enabled here. So what I like to do here when I see SMB enabled is I just like to run enum for Linux. Enum for Linux we check everything on this system for us. And you just type enum for Linux and I'll show you what it does. It's a really nice tool. And I'm also running it because I want to see how much noise enum for Linux makes for our host-based intrusion detection system. So there we go. Enum for Linux will go and enumerate the system for us by just pointing it to it. And while it's doing that, let's check how much noise are we making with enum for Linux on our. Today, our main focus is on that agent that is running on our vulnerable system. This is from the machine that is being attacked. What does it see? What logs are we monitoring? In this case, this thing is getting slow. I think mostly because I didn't give it enough resources. Let's look at the events. You see, I'm on the Dawn machine. All right. What are these PAM login session closed thingies? What am I looking at here? Oh, look at that. That's my Samba session. So this is, yeah, it's Samba session. So this is a Gnome for Linux probably trying to sign in. This is a Gnome for Linux brute forcing Samba share. And we see all these login session closed. And we are monitoring the log via log auth.log. So the auth.log file is what's giving us all these. And I think this is really great that we can actually see. So if you via log auth.log is just getting hammered with a lot of failed attempts, now you know that things are not working properly for us here. And as the good guys, we might want to do something about these. So for now, this is what we see. Let's go and check. A Gnome for Linux is done. And here are some of the results. Usually you want to put these to a file, but right now I'm not putting them to a file. I'm just displaying them here, but you want to put these to a file so you can see them later. Let's start from the top. It will enumerate the system for known usernames. If it were a Windows machine, we might have a few usernames here. And going, we didn't find anything here, but we did find some shares. As you can see, share enumeration. That's the main thing that I use a Gnome for Linux for, really. I don't care about the other users. Sometimes it finds them, but for shares, it's almost guaranteed that if there are some shares, this tool catches them. So I see that I have some shares here on this location. I mean on this machine. We have print, disk, then we have IT department. Now that is interesting. Please do not remove this share in case you are authorized to use this share. You're not, okay. That is supposed to scare people now. Okay. Because of this message in caps here, that makes it more interesting for me. I'm not going to even check the other ones. I'm going to check that IT department. So to do that, it shows us here how it's mapped. So let's use SMB client to access this network share. So with SMB client, that's what we use to access network shares. Usually if you enter something like that, SMB client, the full path, you can do that and we're in. You can run a few commands here. There, we don't have anything, but we are in the IT department. Remember from our log file that we were looking at earlier, where is that log file? Remember from our cron job, this is the file that, this is the same share that we are actually changing permissions for a certain file that's in there. According to this thing here, we are in the IT department and we have two files, web control and product control. We are executing these files and somehow, interesting enough, I don't have them in here. I cannot see them. I don't know if they're hidden, but I don't see them in here. However, cron job says they are being executed. So one thing to try right away is, okay, can I write into this location? Can I put files, or can I write files in this IT share location? So let's first exit there. I'm going to go to machines. All right. First, I will make a file, name it test.txt. I just like to put test material in there. Can I write things? That's what I'm trying to do here. Oh yeah, somebody suggested something interesting. Derman as A for hidden files, I think. right, so let's try now to put that file in there. This is anonymous login, by the way. I didn't put a password. I got that from my in Info Linux. It says we cannot do that. We don't need a password. Okay, let's put text.test. We were able to get it in there. Does it show up here? I highly doubt it, because this is just a logs location. All right, but the fact that we can write there is good, because we didn't get any error when putting it in here. Dir -a. No. All right, let's see if we can put the same file as the one that's being written. In this case, let's start with web control. The reason why I like to do this is because from here I can say let's see, what do I want to put in this? Let's put a reverse shell in a file called web control. And since we're executing and giving it all the permissions as the user from here, if I put web control in this IT department, this is going to run on a schedule. It's going to give me these permissions, rewrite, execute permissions in that location. So since I have a file that can be written and executed, I might as well just put a quick reverse shell in there and name it web control. Let's see if that actually works. If that doesn't work, we can try the product control. But actually, am I executing web control as well, or is it just product control? So far I've seen, yeah, web control is also getting executed. So that should work. So let's create a file and name it web-control. And in this file, I'm going to tell it to phone back home. I want it to start a reverse shell back to me, because that's going to be the way to go in this case. There are a few ways you can do this. Let's see which one I can try here. I'm just using this resource here. I'll share with you. This is from Hacking Tutorials, and this is for getting reverse shells. You can just read from here the difference between bind and reverse shells. And in this case, we want to get a shell back. We don't care which way. I shared with you in there. So for Linux, let's say we want it to phone home. Let's use this one. We want it to phone home, but in this case, my IP address is not that. So let's change that to something we can, and I'll explain what it's doing here. 38.28, I believe. All right, so I'm going to say on the victim system, run netcat against, and then point it to my Kali Linux IP address on port 444 and execute bin bash. But in this case, let me change this to bin sh, because sometimes sh is easier to get a shell for than bash. That's just what I've observed. So I'm going to make it call home pretty much and write that. So now I have a web control. Let's put that in our share. And since this is running on a schedule, let's start a netcat minus lvnp on 4444. So I'm going to listen, and then once I upload that one, it's going to execute it so that it comes back. Okay, so now here, let's do our SMB. Oh, let's use our SMB client again. Where's my tab? I get too many tabs here. Okay, I think it was here, but anyway, let's do this. Since we're in our download here, so let's do it in SMB client 192.168.38.34 such IT, was it department with D dpt. Okay, let's just do that. Make our lives easier. So what we're just trying to do is we're going to try to put, no pun intended, but that's exactly what I'm going to try to do, is I'm going to try to upload my file that is named exactly like the one that they're executing on a schedule in the same location, and hopefully it execute. Okay, now put, this is us uploading web-control. Remember, our web.control has a reverse shell, and it looks like it did. We were able to put it. So since that thing is running on a schedule, we'll keep listening here. And I've noticed that I don't know whether it ran or not. So I run an ID or an ls, and let's give it a little bit. And while we wait, let's go and check how often is it really running web control. Let's check it again. So netcat negative listen, verbose, numeric, and then port 444. And this should work. If it doesn't, then we have another one to try. In this case, we can try the management. All right. So in here, wait a second, did my web control work? Yeah, so it took a little bit while I was doing the other things. So the reason why it took a little bit is because there's a cron job that is running on a certain schedule, and as you can see, it connected back to us. So that was our quick reverse shell. The easiest reverse shell you can ever get is upload a file, and if there's a cron job doing things for us, now we're in. Make sure, and we don't like this shell as usual, so let's fix that. And you probably have seen me do this all the time. I'm going to try to, I usually try with Python. If that doesn't work, then you can try other things. But in this case, Python should work. So we're in is www.data. Let's fix that so I can clear my screen, because I like to clear my screen. All right. ls minus la, first order of business. I see HTML, and I'm assuming this is for the site, because I'm in www in the var www. So let's go home. Who do we have? When I do this, I'm usually looking for, okay, do I have more people? In this case, I have this user here. But ls minus la, do I have anything interesting? Nothing. Since I have another user, let me go there first. ls minus la, can I read any of their files? Oh, they got bash history. Can I read that? This is just manual exploitation. Permission denied. Okay. So I don't have much going on there. Let's go to Dawn. People keep random stuff. Oh, here's our IT department. ls minus la. What have you done, Dawn? Looking for bash history. Oh, here's MySQL history. We got 2 histories today. That's going to be interesting. Why do we look in people's history? Because people put plain text passwords in their shell for whatever reason. So we want to see what have you done? What have you ran on this system? Okay, in this case, excuse me, we don't even have permission for that. We don't even have permission for Dawn's history. That is unfortunate. Oh, but hey, if you don't have that, can we see MySQL history? Please give us. Oh no, we can check here. It's just read write. Come on. That could have been nice. This is just for Dawn, so we can't even get there. Hey, but IT department has everything. We couldn't see anything last time, so I don't think we can see anything in here today. So we got excited about history. That doesn't help us. This is just me putting files in here. So I don't see anything in here either. And just to make sure that we see all those cron jobs that we saw in the logs, let's see what got us here. Where is those cron jobs? Interesting. So all these are, this will check the ones that we have is done. All right, there we go. Here's our cron job here. That's running from for Dawn. So this is what got us here, and that's how we were able to get our reverse shell. So now that we're here and we are sort of stuck, let's do the usual. In my previous here, let's run, the first thing is let's just run check for SUIDs, because that's what we do before we even do anything. I like to, nowadays now that I've started using a lot of tools, you can put a tool called LinPeas here. LinPeas is awesome. LinPeas will do this for you. I still prefer to do things manually, but LinPeas will make your life way easier. And there we go. Right here, since we've done this so many times, we are looking for things that stand out to us and not the usual. We have the usual suspects, you know, like this, like this. Then we have the unusual suspects like Z shell. Never seen you before, but we'll see what we have here. Yeah, never seen Z shell before. This is not usually something that I've seen here. I've seen the other ones here, but Z shell not so much. We'll check you out. But sudo -L. Oh, come on. User bin sudo. So wait a second. We can run sudo without a password. It's done. Oh yeah, we like that. We like that better than this Z shell thing that we're seeing. Or maybe let's start with Z shell first, then we try Dawn. Okay, so we're in as Dawn with Z shell. So we identified this. So one way or the other, we would have been Dawn. We would have been this user here by just running this one. So check your SUIDs if you haven't. This was too easy. Okay, does our intrusion detection system monitor this? So we are in as Dawn. I hate this terminal because I cannot run this. Oh, I can, but it's just an unusual terminal. So since we're in here as Dawn, let's run another sudo -L. Oh, come on. I need to learn how to type. Okay. All right, so let's fix this. So we don't have Dawn's password, but we're already in here. We're already in here with this uncomfortable shell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it again. I'm going to run this again, but in this case, I'm going to run it with a different port. I don't like that shell that I got. I'm trying to fix it. There's probably a better way to do that, but how about we do this on port 5353. I don't know why I like that port, but netcat and that's LV and P on port 5353. I'm also generating a bunch of shells so I can see if my intrusion detection system caught all of these. So let's go back here. Let's execute that on port 5353. Okay, we are in. Let me fix that with my Python. Oh, come on. All right. That got me to the same place. I don't like that. Okay. Sudo minus user. I think that's how I do this. Can I do that? It's done. How do I run that command? I've done this before. All right, so that didn't get me back in as done as I was expecting. So let's do it again. Two things we could have done here. Let's stop that because we don't need a second one. Since we're in here, remember we saw that SUID, but we also saw this one. We know how to get to done as that SUID is. Let's try this one. If you had root no password, we can run this. Let's try that. I think I need to specify a user in this case. No, this, it says that www may run the following command on dawn. So I need to run it on dawn. And I've done this once. And I think we can do that. Let me see what I can do here because I've done that before. Or we can use GTF4 beans, which will also show us what we are doing here. No, I want GTF4 beans. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, you're right. We've done the user and done the machine, so let's do that. See, let's go home. Let's see. That is an interesting observation. All right, let's try this sudo minus u, then run that command again. And it's asking for www data's password, so we cannot do that. Let's just run that password without the sudo command. Let's just run the command without the sudo command, and I think it will switch us to dawn. Is okay, I'm finding out how to run that file as another user. So it's a quick search here. I just need to run as, yeah, let's try that. Let's try the run as dawn. I think so. I needed a -c. see that command in there. I'm just trying a few things here, what I would do. Otherwise, I already know that we have. Okay, the system doesn't have my run user. In the command, just trying a few things here. No. All right. So let's go back to what we found that works. I don't know what I'm doing not correctly, but this is what we did earlier. We found an SUID that was set. Let's just get to that one. We checked for SUIDs. We found Z shell, and we executed Z shell, and I did a where my I found myself as root right away. Not so fun, but I don't know why this was the direct path of just getting to root using this. That's why I was trying the other one, but cd/root. Okay, let's cat flag the text. All right, so we got a flag here. We got congratulated. I like the other one to work, but we got the flag. I got my Wazoo agent in here as root earlier. So we made a lot of noise. If we get a chance, we'll come back here. But I just wanted to show you how we were able to get root by just exploiting this SUID. I think the other one is also another way to exploit the sudo -l. But so far, let's stop here. Let's look at how much noise did we really generate here. Okay, so two places. We have network-based intrusion detection system. In this case, is Security Onion that is sniffing traffic from a switch. We can check for, this is network alerts, what we saw transversing over the network. And I mean, we saw a lot of things. In this case, web server exploit PHP injection. I don't know where they saw that, but we have a lot of nmap commands that were caught, and then we have well, that is interesting. Let's drill down on this one. We can just click on there and drill down. We can see a lot of these on different ports, so we know that this was probably a Dearbuster or us enumerating something. In this case, maybe nmap. That was nmap scripts that were caught here. So if you use nmap, of course, this is what you'll see. If you have an intrusion detection system in your environment, you will see a lot of this noise. So you'll be able to tell if something was happening. Of course, we have Kibana, where we can display the same information easily. But this is just a good, interesting one. What I like to see from here is my reverse shells. Since I did them a couple of times, I'm looking for port 444, 5353. What did that look like? But so far, if you come in here, let's sort by ports. Let's see if we can see. There's a lot of ports here. Who initiated the, let's start by maybe source. I'm just looking at, oh, okay. Here are all the random ports that were generated during brute forcing. But we also see MySQL brute force attempts. This is all nmap, by the way, with all these ports here. And if you wanted to see, let me try one more time here for my destination. There's a better way to search, but I think I can quickly find out. 5353 is right here. This was my reverse shell. If you want to see it, you can see it in plain text probably, because we were there. It shows us here, the attacker did get in a complete reverse shell as www data. So there's no guesswork in here to know what happened. Next, let's check what this looks like from the host-based intrusion detection instead of on the network. I like to use Wazoo. In Wazoo, you would have to really check this and make sure that it's really adjusted and remove a lot of noise from it for it to be usable. So obviously mine is not fine-tuned, but you need to fine-tune your Wazoo agents to make sure that they work. It's easy to set them up, by the way. Once you deploy this, you can just come, and for me to add this agent to my machine, I just came in here and said it's Ubuntu, this architecture. I gave it the fully qualified domain name of my manager, and then all you do is run this command. Once it's complete, it will install the agent configured for you, point it to the manager, then start the agent. So you can script this with Ansible, deploy it to 10,000 devices in no time because of how easy it is to set up. But once we're there, let's see if we can see the events. You can see the events like in real time here. In this case, I'm looking at the last 30 minutes. You can look at the last hour. Let's see the trends. See, this is when we were attacking a lot. This is all the events that we did. I mean, too much noise here, obviously. But if you wanted to see them, you can also see a dashboard, which will show you the breakdown of how much noise did we do, how did we do it. So if you're an administrator, you want to set up an alert that will wake you up in the middle of the night when you reach maybe 5,000 events. That way you know something really bad is happening, because as you can see, this is us just attacking this system and us doing it again. Web, the 400 errors, this is obviously Dearbuster. It found a few others here. It's thought it's cross-site scripting, probably false positives. It shows us the rules that fired here. But I really like the events, because I think the events, the real-time events, show what's really happening in real time. In this case, I can say, okay, let's click on this one. It will narrow down to the events that were happening there. We know, oh, this is when we were getting brute forced, or these 400 errors. Okay, let's check what happened here. And this is more brute forcing that was happening here. What I want to do is make sure that this is actually searchable. You can search here if you want using the Kibana querying language, KQL. In this case, let's see if I can actually. But if you're not used to the Kibana querying language, you can send this to Splunk, which is where I am. I need to add the Wazoo API configuration. Then I can have Splunk. Then I can use this Splunk querying language just to be able to see the events as everything else. Then this will make our lab environment as close to a production environment as possible, because everybody uses Splunk. Everybody likes to ingest their logs, and we can see what is happening in our environment. So I think based on this, we should say we are good. Even though I think there's a better way to exploit that machine than that SUID. I don't get excited about exploiting a single SUID. I like something more exciting, but that was good learning in either way. So let's see. Did you install Wazoo agent in the Vulnhub machine? Yes, I installed the agent on the machine. So what I did is I exploited the machine, got root, then installed the agent. Because in most environments, I was assuming that it should already be deployed. Someone said, how expensive is that Splunk license? Splunk is very expensive. Yeah, Splunk is very expensive, but most employers will pay for it. Yes. Oh, yeah. Someone says there are 4 ways to do it. There are 4 ways to get root. That is exciting. We have 40. That is a lot of events. These events are coming from OpenSense. I use OpenSense instead of pfSense firewall in my lab environment, and I'm ingesting all the logs that are coming in there. And as you can see, let's see if my firewall saw anything. I don't think it did because everything was internal. I wasn't ingesting much from yeah. So here it saw my Kali Linux, but that's about it. This traffic wasn't leaving my environment, so firewall would not have had visibility to most of what I was doing here. But either way, we actually have a ton of traffic coming into Splunk. And Splunk is pretty much the golden standard for the industry. That's why I'm enjoying being able to ingest some of these logs. And there is my traffic. And oh, by the way, if you use these monitoring agents in your environment, expect to see something like this. I'm using a UDP port for my agents for monitoring. So that's why it's taking a lot of, they're taking a lot of traffic here. Because Wazoo, I'm using an UDP port, and most of the traffic in here is monitoring traffic. The lab environment doesn't do much except monitoring and stuff like that. Awesome. Got my security onion and my pfSense lab along with Kali and Windows. Oh yeah. Yeah, this lab is really fun, guys, and I hope you learned a thing or two from what we just did here. Obviously, there's more to be had, especially with our Wazoo agent. But what we just wanted to make sure to do is, because in most environments at work, you have logs from the actual systems that are under attack. So you should be able to see what happened on the system that was under attack. In this case, that's what we are seeing here. And then you should also be able to tell what happened on the from the network point of view, which is what Security Onion is going to give us. But yeah, I think this is a good way for us to learn, which will be really, really good. What OpenSense plugin is this? Are you asking for the one in Splunk? Yeah, Splunk comes with an OpenSense app for Splunk, and this one takes a little bit of setting up. You kind of have to send your logs to an rsyslog system. Then from rsyslog, you can ingest them here, which is also a good way of managing your logs anyway. You don't want to send your logs directly to Splunk. Use a separate syslog server, then Splunk sort of gets them from there. That way, you can really take some of the indexing or separation somewhere else. Then your Splunk server just does most of the ingestion after you decide which logs to exclude and include. Yeah, this was very simple to set up. You can set this one up in no time. It's an easy one. So if you had a VPN, this is what you would see. I'm very excited about how this works. I don't have any VPN connections yet, but if I did, that's what I would see. My intrusion detection system, this is just the one in OpenSense. You're supposed to see some attacks here and there. It's not fine-tuned, but if anything terrible was happening, this will probably tell me, which is also really great. Nice. Let me know if you have any questions about what we just did today with our attack. For Wazoo, the easiest way to set this one up is just go to here, download the OVA. For Wazoo deploying, there's a virtual machine that you can download. You can just download it and import it. I just downloaded it and imported it in VMware. And it's a very small lab. if you really wanted to make things more interesting, you can deploy it with Ansible. Then you can have multiple managers within your environment. Like for a production environment, that's what I would do. I would deploy different managers for different network segments, then have them all feed to Splunk. Then that way you have visibility on all your endpoints. We're using CentOS 7, which is awesome. And it's super easy. Just download the OVA, import it, start it, sign in as admin. And then once you're done, go to deploy agent, choose what type of agent it is, and off you go. For my Windows systems, all I did was just come here and it gives me this nice PowerShell command. Execute this on any Windows machine. The machine will check in right away. I was able to execute, you can execute this with things like SCCM or whatever you're using for managing your Windows machines, and before you know it, you have 10,000 machines checking in your Wazoo manager. Since we're there, let's go to modules. I want to show you one of the most interesting things in here is this. Obviously, this is not tuned yet, but all the things that we did today were caught and classified by the type. In this case, public exploit, I don't think that was it. Attacks by techniques, defense evasion, initial access. So we can click on any of these. Let's apply that as a filter. It will show us, okay, what happened, which machines were there. Let's choose the machine, done. Let's look at the events, that correspond to these rules. We can see there's a lot of Windows evasion. Let's this is what you need to do. You need to go and fine tune it and remove these Windows login events, because they are showing here, which they shouldn't, but you can see what they are. In this case, it's logging every single time the machine does something. This is my Splunk machine. Every single time a service does some Kerberos authentication, for whatever it does, in this case it's audit, it's logging it as a security event, which you need to remove if you don't care about these services doing that. Awesome, thank you. Thanks, Jupiter, for the super chat. Appreciate it. And Brendan, that's nice. Wait a second. You said Splunk, NDR, and Suricata. Oh, nice. I'll check that YouTube channel. Because yeah, I'm very interested in seeing, especially if we can add some Yara rules here, make this more usable. Because at the end of the day, we want to really get familiar with these types of attacks. We want to see what they look like. We want to see how do we sort of see this as second nature to us. And at the end of the day, I don't want to end up using this Wazoo interface anyway. I want to spend most of my time in here because that's where most of the fun is. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll check that YouTube channel today. That is awesome. Now that somebody mentioned that there are 4 ways, there's a part of me that wants to go back in there and do more digging. Go to Rangefords. It's a site for blue team, and nice. All right, guys. Thanks, Brendan, for joining. Appreciate it. And thank you all for being here. I hope you can also set up your lab, and so that next time when we come back here, you now have your agents, your machines being monitored. You also can look at host-based intrusion detection logs, and you might have something like this. Let me show you what it looks like with all my other agents here. Go back here. This is what the agents look like when they are active and disconnected. It will tell you my Kali Linux got disconnected, mostly because I didn't start the service. But this is what the agents look like when they're Windows. They will show you whether they're active. And this is where you go to deploy a new agent. Put the IP address of your machine here. In this case, I use my domain name, tpi.local, and choose the OS, and you can deploy it. Yes, this will be uploaded. So yeah, thank you very much for being here, guys. I hope you learned something today. If you did, please like, give me a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, let's keep hacking, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.